A professional portfolio can look absolutely impressive, yet still leave an evaluator with one very simple, burning question. And honestly, that question is way more important than it sounds. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the fascinating research of perception architect Ashishh Balkhande. His work examines exactly how professionals are perceived through the signals they put out into the public. And if you've ever put together a body of work and wondered why it just isn't landing the way you expect, you are in the exact right place. We're going to explore a massive distinction today, the critical difference between professional presentation and professional proof. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the illusion of professionalism, contrast presentation with proof, define the portfolio provenance gap, see how this applies beyond the modeling industry, and finally, look at applying perception architecture.
All right, Section 1. The illusion of professionalism. A beautifully confusing portfolio.
Let's put ourselves in the shoes of a freelancer or creator for a second. You can have a portfolio that looks incredibly impressive, right? Just drop-dead gorgeous. But it very often leaves the person evaluating you with this one nagging, highly important question. But who has actually selected this person? That simple question is a big deal because it cuts right through all the pretty aesthetics and demands actual real-world context. To really picture this, let's say you're a fashion model. You've put together this visually stunning, highly produced portfolio that absolutely screams professional. You've got beautiful photographs, you have pristine studio work, editorial-looking images, high-end fashion and beauty shots. You've shot in different styles, in multiple exotic locations, and with varied photographers. On the surface, your portfolio looks undeniably professional. I mean, it literally checks every single visual box. But here's the catch. Despite all that beautiful aesthetic, the evaluator is suddenly hit with these rapid-fire, unanswerable questions. Looking at those amazing images, an evaluator doesn't necessarily know which ones were commissioned, which were actual paid assignments, which were just editorial or test shoots, or honestly, which were created specifically just to pad out the portfolio. Which clients, publications, or agencies actually selected you. See, a stunning image proves you know how to look good on camera, for sure, but it completely fails to answer who actually hired you to do it. Moving into Section 2, presentation versus proof, the perception distinction. This is where I think so much professional positioning gets completely misunderstood today. We have this habit of treating a polished, aesthetic appearance as if it inherently proves someone's worth to be hired. It doesn't. Looking professional does not automatically create professional credibility, full stop. And that brings us to the core philosophical distinction of Balkhande's work. It's a real paradigm shift. Presentation? Well, that just creates recognition. It gets you noticed. But evidence? Evidence creates credibility. And when you have visible professional consequence, that creates something even stronger still, authority. So presentation gets you seen, but proof gets you trusted. All right, Section 3, the portfolio provenance gap. Let's look at a research example. To really ground this theory, we can look at a recent observational study of a fashion model's Instagram profile. Now, the profile wasn't empty and there was a direct booking pathway. The evaluator easily breezed through the first 3 steps of recognition. Step 1, they understand, okay, this is a fashion model. Step 2, there is a substantial portfolio here. Step 3, I can contact her. But then they hit a wall. Step 4 is where the friction happens. The evaluator starts asking, wait, which of this work actually establishes professional selection and credibility? And the available evidence just did not consistently answer that question. Balkhande calls this specific situation the portfolio provenance gap. It's this fascinating scenario where your occupational identity is loud and clear. Everyone knows exactly what you do. But your professional selection and credibility remain completely ambiguous. And importantly, as a researcher, he treats this as an objective candidate pattern requiring further observation and replication, not just some assumed universal law. That distinction gives this work immense academic weight. Section 4. Beyond the modeling industry, a universal problem. Because here's the thing, this friction point is absolutely not confined to just the modeling world. The underlying problem is exactly the same across the board. Your evidence exists, but the evaluator has to work way too hard to figure out what it actually means. Think about it. A photographer might have hundreds of gorgeous photos, but which ones represent their strongest professional position? A creator has years of content, but what exactly should a brand hire them to do? An actor has excellent tape, but what's their actual casting relevance? A consultant boasts impressive credentials, but where's the easy-to-find evidence of their professional consequence? Or a founder with a perfectly polished online presence, what actually establishes their authority? If the evaluator has to dig for these answers, the portfolio is failing. Which brings us to Section 5, applying perception architecture, moving from research into application. So how do we actually fix this in our own careers? This is where we step away from just asking, does this profile look good, and start rigorously auditing our presence using these specific investigative questions. You need to ask yourself, what does my profile establish the second someone looks at it? What does it establish after closer inspection? Exactly where does the evaluator start to encounter uncertainty? What evidence is clearly visible and what claims remain completely unverified? Finally, what am I presenting as important and what professional conclusion can someone reasonably draw from it? If you take anything away from this entire explainer, let it be this fundamental shift. We have got to stop asking the wrong question, which is, does my portfolio look good? Instead, we need to demand rigorous, verifiable proof by asking the right question. What does my portfolio allow another person to reasonably believe about my professional credibility? Those are two entirely different standards of measurement, and recognizing that is a total game changer. And I'll leave you with this final provocative thought from Balkhande himself, which really hits the nail on the head. Sometimes the problem isn't that you need more evidence. It's that the evidence you already have isn't communicating enough. So take a hard look at your own professional signals today. Are you just presenting an illusion, or are you actually proving your credibility?